This is an awkward conversation. This is like one of those finales of The Bachelor, you know, or something. I'm like, what does your mom think of this show and you playing Goliath?
She loves this show, and I mean,
she's Team David.
Yeah, she's massively Team David.
That's awkward.
This is one of those stories that's the origin story. It's the ultimate underdog story of someone overcoming fear, someone who is the underdog, who is, the odds are not in his favor, and yet he is successful. Hi everyone, it's House of David here. We have John Erwin, John Gunn, and Martyn Ford, and I am Michael Iskander. And you're gonna have a lovely conversation today, so make sure to tune in. It's gonna be a great one.
And then what do you say, like and subscribe or something?
Make sure to leave a like and subscribe down in the comments. No, what am I doing? Can I not do that?
Do you leave a subscribe?
No, you leave a like.
Wow. I don't know if you got that right.
Let's not do it. Let's cut
no, we're in it. Let's,
keep it.
I think you're supposed to, if you want more of these amazing, profound, thought-out conversations, like and subscribe. Like this and subscribe to our channel. This is Inside the House, the show that takes you inside the show. This is an awkward conversation. This is like one of those finales of The Bachelor, you know, or something. I'm like,
That's so true. You need to talk about your relationship. This guy killed this guy.
Why are we opposite? It doesn't help.
Well, we wanted to put space between you. This is the finale. The finale episode has just aired.
It's out?
Spoiler alert. Well, not spoiler alert. It's out. You should watch it.
You should.
You killed him.
Spoiler alert.
So we put a gigantic table
I
in
gotta tell you
between
what, though, ever since you killed him, I feel like the tension is gone from your relationship, and you seem to be getting
well, I mean, in all honesty, I don't think there was much tension off screen. We tended to get on quite well, but on screen was a different story. And I think what was incredible about shooting this was, we were talking earlier about how shows and opportunities can change life, but also build friendships for life. And that's definitely what we've created on here. And the set's been such a special one. The memories that it's gave me personally, and the friends I've taken from this are phenomenal. And I think that's also what makes this show so successful, is that it's built with love, friendship, and true passion.
I want to talk about it all, and I agree. I think you could tell how much fun we had making the show, how much we love each other while we make but it shows incredible people, incredible relationships, incredible experience. One thing that I just want to, Michael gave me this ring, I still wear it. It says "Seek Discomfort" by
Seek Discomfort.
Seek Discomfort.
Yeah. Seek Discomfort.
Which is like
Is that the one I gave you?
But when you talk about Seek Discomfort, there's a shot in the finale, probably my favorite shot of the series, destined to be a meme, when Goliath falls. The metaphor for it was, cedar tree, so you had to lay out
I remember
for
that
fall. We did it one time.
Yeah.
How was that? Take us through the fall of Goliath, because it seemed really painful.
I'm not sure how much we're legally allowed to speak about this, as the claim is still going through.
Don't worry about it. It'll be Exhibit C.
I hear that season 3 might not happen either. No, it was it was one of those moments where we need to get this the first time to make sure it looks good. And then I think once you land it and it's done, the realization of the risk of injury hits after. But it was good. We were
it's
protected.
hard for people to realize too, like to just release yourself to fall without putting your arms out to shield yourself.
Yeah, it's so
when you've got a big helmet on your head. Yeah,
it is unnatural. But I mean, the thing is as well, especially with shooting shows, and the training and the lead up and the health and safety that comes with it, you just give trust to everyone around you, and it worked out absolutely fine. It was awesome. It is one of those ones where you want to twitch, no matter how much it's going to be safe, and you're not going to hurt yourself. You still want to put those arms out in front. But I think it's like anything in life. If you can completely give yourself to something and trust in it, you
get a good shot.
You get a great shot. Yeah.
By the way, when it's great forever.
That's true.
So what? Michael, take us through the filming of David and Goliath. Iconic. We dreamed about it for an entire season. We did it. I think we filmed for 2 weeks in pieces, getting the light right. How was that experience for you? It's portraying one of the most iconic moments in the Bible, one of those iconic characters. Yeah. And we're finally doing that moment.
Yeah.
How was it?
I mean, it was a pretty astounding moment for me because, I mean, like, growing up listening to the story of David in Sunday school and at church and, like, having the images in your head of what this might have looked like, and then finally being in the space, and I remember I looked at you one time and I just got chills down my back, and I was like, this was a tiny little kid going up against a man of war. That's terrifying. And yet having the courage to step up and to defend the name of God and defend his people. I was like, oh, I finally understand how much courage it took this shepherd boy to step up against Goliath. And for me, it was really special because I remember during the first screen test, I went up to you, John, and I was like, I have a specific shot in mind, and it's based off this painting.
That's right.
And it's David holding up Goliath's head, but not in joy and mourning, because
with humility.
Humility, you know, David took Goliath's life not because he wanted to, but because he was defending his people. And I asked, I was like, could I just get that one shot?
Because we weren't going to show it for fear of ratings.
Yeah.
It's a challenge to figure out, like, how do you hold up the head in a way that works for family viewing, but also that just doesn't look silly.
Yeah.
And I think, but that image that you had, which is like with your head down, with his head up, gave us a really great idea for how to show that.
Yeah.
And obviously the internet is talking a lot about this show. The internet, as if it were one big thing.
You've heard of the internet,
You've heard of the internet?
No.
The internets are chattering. They're chattering about this show.
YouTube.com.
So one of the criticisms was that, well, read the words in the Bible. David wasn't afraid. When he faced the giant, he was just bold and courageous and went and slayed the giant, and that was it. Talk to that, because you dramatized it, even with Martyn at his current size, which is massive.
You answer it.
What would you say to that? What would you say to somebody that was like, has read the Bible and said, well, David wasn't scared at all?
Well, I would say in the Bible, God, it's written, do not fear, 365 times, I think, which is an interesting number. But I always ask myself, why would God tell his people to not fear unless they were fearful? And there's a specific psalm, I think it was Psalm 56. I got to pull it up. I got to pull up scripture here because this is, it inspired me. It inspired me so much reading the Psalms and hearing what David kind of went through in terms of overcoming fear. You know, oftentimes it's not about just being fearless. It's overcoming fear, which is what I love about your script, and the first time I read it resonated with me.
It's like the amount of courage is in proportion to how much fear you feel.
Exactly.
Because that's what you have to overcome.
It doesn't require a lot of courage.
Like what Andrew Garfield said one time, he's like, grief is the amount of love that you had for someone that was unexpressed.
Yeah.
In the same way that courage is the amount of fear that you overcome.
Yeah.
That's profound. How old are you?
While you look that up, I also wanted to say that, like, when you talk about shooting a moment like that, sometimes when you're on set, you're shooting something, we break it up into so many pieces, and you're just lost in the, like, getting the shot, making your day, making sure the light is good. But that was one of those moments I remember being on set, and there's times when you look at the camera, you look at the monitor, and you're watching you step out, backlit by the sun, delivering these lines, and I remember feeling like I feel the importance of this moment on set, in the moment, looking at the monitor.
There was a few. Did you find it?
I found it.
Okay.
I'll start from the beginning. Be gracious to me, O God, for people trample on me. All day long foes oppress me. My enemies trample on me all day long. For many fight against me, O Most High. When I am afraid, I put my trust in you. In God, whose word I praise, and God I trust, I am not afraid. What can flesh do to me? And this, to me, just speaks to the humanity of David, in that he's not fearless. He overcomes fear, and he becomes fearless through his love for God. And that's his power. He's not inhumane. He feels just like the rest of us. But we resonate with him because we see him overcoming these problems.
So respond to that, internet. Anyway, so Martyn, you've overcome a lot in your life as well. A lot of setbacks, a lot of obstacles, and yet you have this magnetic energy and spirit. So what are the 2 or 3 like keys to how you overcame obstacles and real setbacks for those that are trapped in the same situation?
I massively believe that every experience builds you, pretty much like callus on our hands. And if you can have the mindset where if you take negativity and you can take out of that something you can learn from and build on, it becomes a positive time of your life. Like I've had some horrendous times in my life where you really struggle to see why that's happened and the magnitude of it at the time. And then when you look back and you realize that actually it was probably one of the greatest lessons in life that I got taught. And without those lessons, I wouldn't be where I was today. And I think when you can just be patient and trust in the process and carry on turning up every single day and setting constant small goals. Just set a goal every single day. It doesn't matter how big or small it is. Just make sure it's going in the right direction of where you want your life to end up. And ultimately, I think that's how you stay positive, you stay focused and happy in life, which I think is really important. I think it's absolutely imperative that you understand a direction that you want your life to take and then do everything in your power to do it. I think we give up too easy. I think we accept no too easily as well. And I do think all of us can probably look at ourselves and remember times where we didn't try hard enough. And I think in today's world, it's too easy to quit, and it's too easy to give excuses, and it's too easy not to try your hardest. And I think that's a lesson that we need to try and pass on to the next generation, is that no, have some self-belief, have some have a long-term vision, and push. And if you get a setback, take out of that what you can, and then move forward again. Like, I haven't done anything work-wise since we finished here, but I don't see that as a bad thing. I see that as a good thing, because we've had the opportunity to turn down 2 or 3 projects that weren't right. I've worked on myself, and I've realised that being told no for something is a good thing, because you go away and work on your weaknesses, and then you build yourself to become stronger, and then you get that opportunity eventually. It's just being patient.
And what was there a turning point? Because think about life is made up in moments. So David killing Goliath was a turning point, kind of we call in film act breaks, these irreversible turns. Was there a turning point for, was there some decision that you made, because you kind of rocketed, not in your 20s, but in your late 30s and then into your 40s. And so what was the key to that change?
The turning point for me personally was probably something that happened to me very early on, where I felt like I gave up. And having that feeling of giving up was horrendous. It was the worst feeling ever. And that was something that I took through my whole career, is if it takes me a week, if it takes me a year, if it takes me 10 years, I'm never going to give up again. And that was the mindset I put into this. And 9-10 years ago, I got my first opportunity in film. And it became very apparent after the first time I heard that word action and take, that this was where my head and heart and energy lay. And then I realised very quickly that I had a lot of catching up to do, because if I want to be taken seriously as an actor, I need to learn how to act, which is something that people don't.
Great advice.
Yeah, it's good advice. So many people say to you, how can I become an actor? And I was always, how do you become anything in life? Learn. You study, you learn, and you apply yourself, and then then consider applying for a job. Don't apply for a job because you want to do something. Go and learn the craft. Go and learn the trade. And that's kind of where my mind was 9-10 years ago. And I was just saying to John earlier, the whole family's considering, moving out to LA, because for me, I feel that's my next stage now. My next step is to really indulge myself and put myself in the position and have the opportunities to meet people, to network, to grow, to go back to some schooling of sorts as well. And I think that's that for me, the turning point for me with my career was definitely 8-9 years ago. But this next step was with you guys, 100% on the back end of Mortal Kombat, and then Red Sonja and this and Those About to Die. Every role was growing in magnitude or growing in size, and it was just down to it's not having fear to say yes and taking that next step.
That idea too. First of all, your perseverance and your positivity is such a gift to all of us. But I think it is such a good reminder that the moments that manifest require so much struggle to get to them. And if you know that you're working, for instance, in this industry where there's going to be so many no's, if you accept that and you're in it for the long haul, then you've got to, every time you get a no, that genuinely gets you closer to the moment where
100%.
And then you get a role like this, which has been such a gift for us to have you part of the family on the show. And I love how much that will then shift and change your life and your family's life.
Absolutely. And I think you have to understand as well, just because someone says no, it doesn't mean they're saying no because you're not good, or they're saying no because you're not the right fit for that shape at that time. Like, no, there was a
not the right paintbrush for what they're painting.
And if you take every single no as a meaning of you're not good enough, you're never going to last in life. Never mind this industry. You have to look at it and go, okay, sometimes you're going to get the word no because you're not good enough, and you have to take accountability, and you have to go back and you have to learn and work on that. And that's the joy of this industry, is that you can act at any age.
Yeah.
So you can learn at any age. And if you're not learning, you're not growing. If you're not growing, you're not going to progress. And you'll always be dissatisfied because you won't ever achieve what your objective is. I mean, like you guys, it's not just actors, it's directors, it's producers, it's writers. You don't always get the jobs that you apply for, or the jobs you want, because not everything fits at the right time. But then when you do get the opportunity, if you take the most of it and really apply yourself and put 110% of yourself into it, then that grows you as an individual, and then the next role becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, and the next job becomes bigger and bigger, and you look back and you realize that everything you did over the last 10, 15, 20 years, there was a reason for that foot. And as long as you can make them feet go in the right direction, you'll end up at the end goal.
Yeah, so I've got a little thing on my desk at home for like a mug, and it just says genius is only great patience, and I think success is long obedience in the same direction, for sure. That's a big part of David's story, which is there was 15 years before he was crowned king, after he was anointed king, so you have to
I love it when you jump from, like, when you tell someone's story and you skip over the 15 years because the next important thing that history wants to remember is this. But when you're living in those 15 years,
they're long.
You don't know how long they're going to be, and you don't know what's on the other side.
Or if there is another side.
And that's exactly right. And that's where you have to learn to go from disappointment to disappointment with great enthusiasm. Just live the life, celebrate the losses, celebrate the wins, live in the moment, deliver everything you have. And then when the moment comes, you'll be prepared.
Because John, you wrote scripts for DreamWorks because you're an incredible writer, but that comes from writing many, many scripts. But you wrote many, many, many films
that no one will ever see,
that were never made.
Yeah, really big movies that were life-changing when I got the job. And that has been a thing for me that I constantly, when I speak to aspiring filmmakers and writers and actors, I always talk about that, which is that, like, you genuinely just have to not quit. Because in the process, you strengthen yourself through the failures and disappointments, but you learn by doing it. If you're hoping to just show up and get the gig that makes you successful, you won't be prepared. Genuinely. I've written so many things no one will ever read, and some of those things I think are great. But having written them makes the thing that people will see better.
That's right, yeah.
And it gives you character, and it teaches you about perseverance in ways that's really meaningful. And those are the struggles that when you see people who have found moments of success or celebration in their life, and you feel that it's a rich moment of celebration, that's because it has been forged through struggle.
Absolutely.
What we've all been, you guys, we took a break for season 2. You guys were on the road together marketing the show. Martyn, you've been out killing it. There's very few actors that understand or embrace marketing and promotion the way you do. It's hard work. So you guys have all been out with the show. The show has more than tripled our expectations or Prime's expectations. It launched as one of the top 10 shows in all of streaming. It's been the top 5 and in the top 2 just about the whole run on Amazon. On Prime, and so tens of millions of people are responding to the show far beyond our expectations. You've been out promoting it. What do you think people are enjoying about the show? Why are they resonating with it like this?
I think it's a mixture of everything. I think it's obviously there's a massive stronghold of a faithful following that you had from the start, which is incredible to have the opportunity. But I think with that comes risk. You have to make sure that it's delivered with with honor and respect, and to really give them the story that they believe in and they can follow. And that was something, going to a couple of the churches and so on, that was very very much put across. They enjoyed the story because they trusted the story and they believed in the story, and I think that was something that gave you a solid foundation from the start, but was also a very risky foundation. If there was any deviance or any loss of judgment on your behalf, then that could have been a double-edged sword. And I think we've seen that with productions recently, I'm not going to go into names of, but of something that had a strong fan base and was changed and absolutely didn't work. So there was a lot of pressure on you guys, which you probably didn't feel at first, which we probably didn't feel at first, on just how important it was to tell this story correctly. And then obviously you've got the magnitude of the show itself, in the sense of the geographical. The shots are phenomenal. The putting together of the story was awesome, and the acting levels was incredible. So I think, when you add all of that into the mix, it gives you a perfect combination for the perfect cake, so to speak.
People love it. What do you think is why do people, I mean, I guess the show specifically, but also David and Goliath more broadly, what do you think it is that people so resonate with? Like, what does the story represent to people, do you think?
Well, I think ultimately people are longing for stories like this. And like, oh, I got a little fly.
Yeah, I was like,
that fly's longing.
It was like he wanted to be.
He's longing
had a
for
dream.
the story too.
Oh, did you get it?
He's part of the family.
That was Mr. Miyagi stuff.
That was the next star of the show.
David has an inner rage and violence in him. He's like, oh, the fly, longing for a story. I'm going to kill you now. Sorry, wow, that was aggressive.
Goliath-sized
you did
fly,
miss, by the way.
Okay, people are longing for it.
No, I mean, like, yeah, I remember it started for me watching The Chosen, and like I immediately fell in love with it, and I had it on my heart to play David for the past 3-4 years now. And then all of a sudden I get this email that's like, hey, this is actually coming to fruition. They are making a story about this. And I don't think I'm the only person that thought that. People are longing for stories that inspire, that fill the heart. And this is one of those stories that's the origin story. It's the ultimate underdog story of someone overcoming fear, someone who is the underdog, who is, the odds are not in his favor, and yet he is successful.
I will say too, though, I think that what I believe people feel when something works, and this is a story about families and households, and that we have built a crew and a cast and a team, over 600 people here in Greece working on this, who I believe all genuinely love the story we're telling.
You feel it.
And a cast of actors who have built relationships, that they love each other and know each other, and everybody pours themselves into this show. And that's where I feel like, look, it's hard making movies, it's hard making television, and it's hard making bad television and movies, quite honestly. And so to make it good,
at least try to make it great.
Yeah, no, but I think that when there's a spirit and a soul, and the people are invested in the relationships on the screen, then you can feel that. And that's where I feel like we've really won and really succeeded, is building a family, the crew here in Greece, the cast that have come, and call us constantly with thoughts and notes. I want to make this better. I have an idea for this. I don't feel that this is truth. Like, how do we bring a real life and a real truth to every moment, every prop, every detail, every bit of hair and makeup and wardrobe and set design? And so when everybody gives that much to it, you can feel it when you watch it, and that's where I think it's succeeds.
I think you touched on something there as well, the word family. I think this show is something that the entire family can watch and learn from, and I've had some incredibly funny I sent you one. I've had some messages off fans which have been awesome. There was this one lady that sent me a video of her 2 sons fighting.
And one, the little kids
one being
playing
Goliath and one was David.
It was a little 3-year-old kills. Funny. It was great.
And I think that sort of resonates with the success, because there's not many shows out there that you can watch with a 4-year-old, a 10-year-old, and your mum, your dad, and yourself and your wife sit down and watch, and everyone takes something out of it and enjoy it. There's not many shows out there that do that, and I think you have the value of that with this show, is something that you can literally sit down with any member of your family and watch, and each and every one of them will know the story, understand the story, and hopefully learn more about the story, and enjoy the education and enjoy the visual impact of the show itself.
I want to tell you too, one of the great victories I feel, I've received messages from a few people, one in particular who called to say, I can't believe how much I cared for Goliath. Right, which really was a big deal though, because it's easy to take an iconic moment like that and just say it's like a good guy against a bad guy or a little guy against a big guy, but the fact that you have a family and brothers and a mother and a life and desires of your own, I just think it speaks to the level of humanity we've been looking to infuse and imbue into this whole show, and I felt like that was such a win, Yeah,
absolutely, and that was the first conversation we had in London. Was how you wanted to try and create Goliath with a history and a backstory, and to try and actually give some meaning to the whole Goliath journey in essence.
Yeah, I remember, because we knew we were going to develop Orpah, the mother of giants, who's in a lot of sort of tradition and history and mythology, and so I remember when you came to that audition, and we had this wonderful conversation.
Did you have your mother with you?
Yeah, and you're like, I brought my mum. My mum's right here. And first of all, the two things we took out of it, we got to cast him. We got to write scenes where Goliath laughs, which led to that chant,
the drinking scene.
But what does your mom think of this show and you playing Goliath?
She loves this show, and I mean,
she's Team David.
Yeah, she's massively Team David. That's awkward. She's also found religion on the back end of this show, which is incredible.
That's great.
Yeah. So I think it's kind of one of those things that to her is going to be a turning point in her life, which you mentioned, in a completely different way to what anyone expected in the off. This is by far, this and The Chosen are two favourite shows on TV now, and nothing else gets turned on.
But in that order, did you hear that, Dallas?
Yeah. Oh, it was.
Her favourite show is House of David,
number 2.
It was a
and
solid
The Chosen.
Number 2. Yeah, well,
good judgment.
So I just want to point that out.
And she brought me a little lamb.
She did really?
Yeah, like a little tiny lamb that I
but hold on, I just
Goliath's mom bought you a lamb.
Yeah.
I want to tell you that I remember when we first met you in London when we were doing the casting, and we didn't know what you were going to be like as a person, but we knew you were large, and we were waiting for you to arrive, and one of our producers at the time was like, I think Goliath is here. I just peeked down the alley and there's a massive man and a tiny lady. I think he brought his mom. And I was like, this is a family show for sure. Goliath brought his mom.
And there's also something to be said for aspiring actors or people that are waiting for their break. Oprah has this sign over her boardroom that says, own the energy that you bring into this room. And there is something about, this is the symphony of art, we're making this together. And a big part of success, I think, in this industry is really focusing on and owning the spirit you bring to something and the energy you bring in. And you just bring an infectious energy wherever you go. Has that always been a part of you? Did you build it up over time? Or what?
I think that came from sports. And being the captain of a team and always having to be the person that shouts the loudest and cheers up everyone, and realising very early on in sport that I wasn't the best player, but I was the most vocal. And if I could encourage other people to play well, the team would win. And I think that's probably where that came from. Looking back, I've never really looked on that in all honesty, but I think that's probably where it came from. Being a captain of a cricket team, a very good cricket team in the UK, playing at a high level and having the pressure to try to win games, you soon sit back and realise this isn't just me. If I can get the best out of the other 10 people, we're going to win. And that's ultimately the most important part of anything you do in life, is to achieve success.
That's such a good lesson and so easy to forget. But I learned that along the way for myself. In my early years of directing, I was young when I started directing, and so I'm often one of the younger people on the set, and you have so much on your mind trying to put something like a movie together, and I started to find that if the energy was bad on set, I couldn't just accept that. You know, then I'm like, oh man, what a bad vibe on my set right now. I started to understand that it was my responsibility to set that tone, right? And so, and part of it is choosing the right people to be around you, and then part of it is leading with positive energy and positivity and you know, and gratitude and respect.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's really important. I think it's important that you understand how hard it is to work on a film set, and how long the days are and how tiring the days can be, but then also how honest the camera is in that lens. And if, you know, you could be the best actor in the world, if you're feeling horrendous, there's parts of that that's going to come through. And there's, you know, and I think ultimately, like you said, it's your responsibility in a way to make sure that set's happy, that set's provided for, and that set's ready to work as a team, and picking the right people is a massive part of that. You know, success ultimately falls on the person at the top. If it's successful, it's down to them. If it fails, it's down to them. And that's the harsh reality of being the big boss of a production and a show. And then that makes it massively important for the people that you pick to work alongside you and for you, to make sure that you get on with them, make sure they're bringing energy that you can work with, and also the talent and skill at the same level. But I think a lot of people misunderstand the importance of being present and happy, and how powerful that can be.
You know, life is about metamorphosis and change and moments. So I remember, how long ago was it that we sat for breakfast in New York? I don't even know. Like, it's all a blur, man.
It was in February.
February of 24.
Oh my gosh, it was February 24.
February 24. Yeah. Holy smoke.
More than a year ago.
So, for both of you, how is this process of making this show, the fly's back, by the way, don't attack it. Okay, it's, how is this process of being on this show, embodying these characters,
there's 2 flies,
changed you? And how has it changed you, and how do you hope it changes an audience watching?
It's a great question. For me, I always go back to day 1 of filming. Lou Ferreira, who plays Jesse, his first lines were, "And God said to Joshua, be strong and courageous, for fear is the enemy, fear is the thief." And I think that was my lesson, and it's still my lesson. And personally, just to trust in God and to be courageous, because there are many challenges that come up when filming anything, let alone a project of this size and this specific story, and just to stay strong. That's been my lesson, and I hope that the people watching are able to see that and are able to overcome the giants in their life, because Lord knows we have many.
Yeah, I think about what is the metaphor of Goliath. Why is there still a roller coaster at Six Flags called Goliath? You know, what does this word mean? I guess it is synonymous with the greatest obstacles that we fight in our lives and the courage to overcome them. What for you? How is this process? You've been in many epic things, and now you are forever. I don't think one of my greatest things that I was looking for feedback was that it said, oh, they finally got Goliath right. Like, a ton of feedback. They got Goliath right. So I think you are the definitive Goliath for a long time in our industry. But how has this process been for you? And then also, what do you hope an audience takes from it?
The process for me personally, on a selfish point, has been an incredible learning curve. To work with you guys, to have the opportunity to show the audience that I can do more than die and scream was phenomenal. And we've had that with a couple of the other shows, but they've not come out yet, and you've turned it around. This was the first one that sort of really laid it on the line. And it's all, you know, it's a phenomenal show for me to be a part of, and it's an absolute honor and privilege to be seen as the Goliath that was got right. Because you know, there's so many people have tried to make this story, and I think this, without doubt, has been the best one received by miles. And to have that on the resume is awesome. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you for being a part of it. If you want more of these conversations, like and subscribe. This is the show Inside the House. I did it right? Which is right. Inside the House of David. It's the show about the show. and where you can really meet and have in-depth conversations with the people that we work with and love while making this show. Check it out. Season 2 is on its way, where we're going to film right now, and check out the finale. It is streaming right now.